This is the Chapter 6 test review for Advanced Algebra. The first problem I've had as a request is number 11. Fill in the missing factor. Now you could sit and try to multiply this out and see which one fit, but if you're actually factoring, you've got 5a squared plus 17a minus 12. Those three terms don't have anything in common, so you would multiply the 5 times the negative 12, that's negative 60. So you're looking for two numbers that multiply to give you negative 60. Those same two numbers need to add up to 17. So if we start thinking about 60, 1 times 60 is not going to work, 2 times 30 is not going to work, 3 times 20, 3 times 20, I think that would work if we did negative 3 and positive 20. So then we would write 5a squared minus 3a plus 20a minus 12. So you're taking this middle term, that 17a, and splitting it into negative 3a and 20a. Then you split this into two groups. In the first group, they only have a in common, and you'd get 5a minus 3. And honestly, that's enough to get you the answer to this problem. But if you want to continue, 20a minus 12, those two things have 4 in common. And you can also get this hint from right here. 20a divided by 4 is 5a, negative 12 divided by 4 is negative 3. So the factored form is a plus 4, 5a minus 3. The nice thing about this is because of how this particular multiple choice problem is set up, once you get to this point, you pretty much have your answer. The next problem I've had asked for is number 12, which is not technically exactly like one of the questions on the test, but it is very similar to number 14, so it's worth going through. First of all, 30, 71, and 42, I don't think those three numbers, I don't think they have anything in common. We can't divide by 2 because of the 71. I don't think we can divide by 3. So 71 divided by 3? Nope. So it looks like we're just going to have to roll with it. We'd have to do 30 times 42. So we are looking for two numbers that multiply to give us 1,260. Those same numbers need to add up to 71. Now, this would be a really tough pair to find if you had to do this on the test. I believe on the test, the biggest number here that you'd have to deal with is like 85. So this one is much, much, much more difficult than what you'd have to deal with on the test. So I'll help you out. The numbers are 35 and 36. Now, how I got those numbers, I know that this number times this number has to give me 42, so I know that this number has to be a 7. So then I did 5 times 7 to get 35, because I know that 5 times 7 is going to give me one of these, and 6 times this number is going to give me the other one. So I kind of used a little bit of that to help me figure it out. If you were actually factoring this, you would do 30x squared plus 35x plus 36x plus 42. Split it. These two have 5 in common, and that would leave us with 6x plus 7. And again, that gives us enough information to finish this problem, but you then could finish 36 and 42 have 6 in common, leaving you with 6x plus 7. So the factored form is, this one actually has 5x. 5x plus 6 times 6x plus 7. Next, we're going to do number 18. Factor 25x squared minus 64y squared. Now, anytime that you have two letters involved, like x and y, honestly, the best way to do this is to ignore the y. Let's say we just had to factor 25x squared minus 64. Now I see x squared minus, and it's only two terms, and 25 and 64 seem awfully familiar to me because they're perfect squares. So 25 is the perfect square of 5. 64 is the perfect square of 8. So this would factor into 5x plus 8, 5x minus 8. In order for this term to have that y squared, the 8 times the 8 would have to give us negative 64y squared. So the y's need to go in there. So it's 5x plus 8y and, and 5x minus 8y. So 5x plus 8y and 5x minus 8y. D is our answer. Next, let's go over number 22. Factor the polynomial z cubed minus 125. And actually, if you go all the way to the end of your review, you should have this. So this is a perfect cube minus a perfect cube. This is the pattern that we are going to use there. Go back up. So z cubed is the perfect cube of z. 125 is the perfect cube of 5. I will have the list of perfect cubes written up on the board for you. So the pattern is the first thing, the second thing, the first thing squared, the two things multiplied together, and then the second thing squared. 5 squared is 25. And then the symbols. This first symbol always matches what you originally started with. The second symbol is always the opposite of whatever you started with, and the last one is always plus. So we definitely need a plus 25. All of them have plus 25. It's not going to be z plus 5 at the beginning because it has to match. So then we're looking for the one that's minus plus plus minus plus plus. D would be our answer. Number 23 is another one of those. It's a sum of two cubes. 8 is the perfect cube of 2. M cubed is perfect cube of m. 27 is the perfect cube of 3, and that one's going to have n. So first thing, second thing. First thing squared. 2m squared would be 4m squared. You have to do 2m times 2m. Then the middle one is these two things multiplied together. So 2m times 3n is 6mn. And then the last thing squared, 3n times 3n is 9n squared. The first symbol has to match what we started with, so we know it's not those, and we can factor this. And then the second one has to be opposite. The last one is always plus. So plus minus plus, A would be our answer. Next, let's do number 30. This is a solve by group, or factor by grouping and then solve. So c cubed and 4c squared just have c squared in common. C cubed divided by c squared is c. 4c squared divided by c squared is 4. Negative 16 and negative 64 have negative 16 in common. Negative 16 c squared divided by negative 16 is c. Negative 64 divided by negative 16 is plus 4. So our factored form currently is c squared minus 16 times c plus 4 equals 0. But hold on, this one we can factor further. This is now difference of two squares. This factors into c plus 4, c minus 4, and then we have the original c plus 4 equals 0. So our solutions are, for here, our solution would be negative 4. Here, our solution would be positive 4. Here, our solution would be negative 4. So they're trying to confuse you here because, yes, you have two solutions that are exactly the same. So c can equal negative 4 or positive 4, not 0. You can't just throw a 0 in there. If all of these had had c in common, then one of our solutions would have been 0. But as of right now, our solutions are negative 4 and positive 4, and that's it. Now I'd like to backtrack to number 7 because I know number 7 has caused people some trouble in the past. Number 7 is another one of those where it's got 2 letters in there. And when you see these problems, I really want you just to consider the first letter. So s squared minus 4s minus 5. Factor that. A lot of you are really, really good at factoring that. So we're looking for 2 numbers that multiply to give us negative 5 and add up to negative 4. And that would be 1 and negative 5. So our factored form would be s plus 1, s minus 5. I'll try to make my 5s look like 5 since there's 5s and s's in this problem, which is just terrible, but whatever. All right, now, s times s gives us the s squared. Then we would do negative 5s and 1s. That would add up to the negative 4st. Then 1 times negative 5 is going to give us this. So the t needs to be in that second spot. So anytime you have that extra letter, just ignore the extra letter until the end and then stick that extra letter in those second positions of each binomial. So our true factored form is s plus t times s minus 5t. So s plus t, s minus 5t. It was kind of hiding from me. It would be C. If you're working on this review and you come across any other questions that you think, oh, I really wish Mrs. Gilmore could just do this problem for me and I could see it, email me. My email is jgilmore@bssd.net. I will have my computer at home with me this evening, so if you email me and say, hey, I could really use number 9 on a video, I will quick make a video of number 9, change it into a YouTube video, and send you the link. It's really quick. Please take advantage of that. I am here for you. I want you to succeed on this test. So email me if you have any other questions. If you email me after like 8:30 p.m., you will not get a response until the following morning because my entire household goes to bed between 8 and 9 o'clock. So please keep that in mind. I am old and I go to bed early. Get your email to me prior to 8:30 p.m. Good luck studying. See you tomorrow.